Shrimad's Divine Grace, Founder of ISKCON, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam Ki, Their Most Merciful Lordship Shri Shri Harikunja Vihari Ki, Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Mai Subhadra Ki, Shri Nathaji Shri Balagopal Ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki, Nitai Go Prem, all glories to the assembly, all glories to the assembly, all glories to the assembly, all glories to the Lord Speed of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatam Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraya
Tato Jayamudiraya
Nasta Prayashu Bhadreshu
Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistaki.
Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistaki.
Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 35. Text 35. Bhave Shmin Klishyamananam Bhave Shmin Klishyamananam Avidya Kama Karma Bhi Avidya Karma Bhi Shravana Smarana Hani Shravana Smarana Hari Karisyan Iti Kechana Karisyan Iti Kechana Bhavasmin Klishyamananam Avidya Kama Karma Bhi Shravana Smaranarhani Karisyaniti Kechana Bhavishmin Klishyamananam Avidya Karma Bhi Shravana Smaranarhani Karisyaniti Kechana
Bhavesmin Klishyamananam
Bhavishmin Klishyamananam Avidya Kama Karma Bhi Shravana Smaranarhani Karisyaniti Kechana Bhavishmin Klishyamananam Avidya Kama Karma Bhi Shravana Smaranarhani Karisyaniti Kechana. Bhave in the material creation. Asmin this. Klishyamananam of those who are suffering from. Avidya essence. Kama desire. Karma Bhi by execution of fruit of work. Shravana hearing. Smarana remembering. Arhani worshipping. Karisyan may perform. Iti thus. Kechana others. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhai Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And yet others say that you appeared to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshiping, and so on, in order that the conditioned soul suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. Please repeat. And yet others say that you appeared to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshiping, and so on. In order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. And yet others say that you appeared to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshiping, and so on, in order that the conditioned soul suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. Purport by His Divine Grace Abhai Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the Shrimadbhagavatam, the Lord asserts that He appears in every millennium just to re-establish the way of religion. The way of religion is made by the Supreme Lord. No one can manufacture a new path of religion, as is the fashion for certain ambitious persons. The factual way of religion is to accept the Lord as the supreme authority and thus render service unto Him in spontaneous love. A living being cannot help but render service because he's constitutionally made for that purpose. The only function of the living being is to render service to the Lord. The Lord is great. Living beings are subordinate to him. Therefore, the duty of the living being is just to serve him only. Unfortunately, the illusioned living beings, out of misunderstanding only, become servants of the senses by material desire. This desire is called avidya, or nescience. And out of such desire, the living being makes different plans for material enjoyment, centered about a perverted sex life. He therefore becomes entangled in the chain of birth and death by transmigrating into different bodies on different planets under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Unless, therefore, one is beyond the boundary of this nescience, one cannot get free from the threefold miseries of material life. That is the law of nature. The Lord, however, out of his causeless mercy, because he is more merciful to the suffering living beings than they can expect, appears before them and renovates the principles of devotional service comprised of hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshiping, praying, cooperating, and surrendering unto him. Adoption of the above-mentioned items, or any one of them, can help a conditioned soul get out of the tangle of nescience and thus become liberated from all material sufferings created by the living being, illusioned by the external energy. This particular type of mercy is bestowed upon the living being by the Lord in the form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Om Krishna was this morning chanting Om again.
Okay.
And see, here we have the explanation here that we are entangled in nescience, and we have to become liberated from all material sufferings, which are created by the living being, illusioned by the external energy. And what that illusion is the belief that it is the reward. The material energy, the external energy of Krishna. This is the same meditation. The person sits around wanting to become wealthy to gain all the energy of this material universe. Or if one sits in meditation, chanting Om, wanting to become one with this material energy, it's the same thing basically. And it's the same illusion that will keep us bound in this illusion. Because it is by desire that we are hanging around, that we got here, that we are staying here, that we are looking to create in this place a permanent residence to call our home. And so it is an illusion. And as Srila Prabhupada brings out many times, we have to be reminded. He is reminding us of our original position. It's not something we have to gain or work towards being. We have to realize what we are. And in that is contained that eternal relationship with Krishna. Because that is the same substance he is. We are made of the same substance he is made of. but we're looking to find pleasure in some other energy, the external energy. So Srila Prabhupada is bringing out here as well that Krishna has to come back time and time again because we keep forgetting. We forget who we are, and we forget where home is, therefore. So not knowing where home is, the soul not being trained up. And unless one is connected to the eternal source, then there is no hope for the soul in the material universe without direct connection to get out. And the person who holds the keys, that's Krishna. Somebody else wants to be recorded in class. So Krishna holds the keys to our future. Jai Shri Jai Jai Jai. Our future is in God's hands. There's an insurance company says you're in good hands with Allstate. But everybody in Allstate has no protection from getting into what they call accidents by becoming what they call insured. So there's actually no real insurance against accidents. It's just insurance against you having to take the blame for it, in effect, and having to pay. Although they make you pay anyways, because your rates will go up if you would get into a wreck. And this is what we have the state of religion in right now, a wreck. The state of religion is in a wreck. But unfortunately, there's no insurance companies out there. If you get involved in the wrong religion, then you can sue them and take them to court and prove that they're not following God. The ways of God, once one finds the supremacy of God's ways, then become much more easy to apply to these physical bodies than the ways of sinful life, because then you have to cope with the body abnormally aging prematurely. So all the breaking of these four regulative principles is the cause of suffering. And it also, every one of these activities prematurely ages the body. Taking of alcoholic beverages depletes the body's ability to digest food, messes up the digestive system. And then the consciousness of poverty derived from gambling also affects the consciousness of the person who delves into that aspect of life, trying to find enjoyment. All of these things in the end produce suffering. Illicit sex the same way. And illicit sex the same way. It changes people's consciousness. Then they distract people from Krishna and then make people think about them. Or they themselves become distracted and then they think about somebody else. And this is a big trap in society. The whole society is set up in a system so where we distract one another from who God is. And we make ourselves out to be little God. With the consciousness of I, me, and mine, this world is mine to conquer. Today I have 50 acres, tomorrow I'll have 20 more. And then the next day after that I'll get 20 more. I need this and I need that. And all this consciousness puts us in a state of wantonness. Constantly thinking we don't have what we need. It's like poverty-stricken mind. I've noticed at the temple, as compared to living in a household life where you have to work, provide everything. I go to the refrigerator and everything's always there. I don't have to think, oh my God, can I pay? Do I have enough money for this? Do I have enough money for that? Can I meet the bills? The thought never enters my mind. 0 bills. 0 bills. Great accomplishment in life, man.
0 debt.
But no worries. So these thoughts don't enter the mind. And so if the thought doesn't enter the mind doesn't become troubled. And so what we are leaning towards finding is simple living and high thinking. So if we're not spending our time worrying about the bills we have piled up, then we can use that time to see the glorious activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna and Balaram jumping off of a mountain 2 miles high, just for the fun of it, because they wanted to do that. Or we can read about Hanuman gaining the ability to jump over from India all the way over into Sri Lanka. So many examples of there in Bhagavatam of abilities that devotees gain simply by becoming devotees and surrendering to Krishna. And a lot of devotees have gone from this world into the eternal dwelling, and were never very much recognized as glorious souls in this world to become famous or anything like that. So the need is not to become famous or to become wealthy, become strong. The aim is to develop love for the one from whom everything came, from whom all things are coming. And that love, the force of that love, is the power of Krishna consciousness. It's the force of that love that drove Srila Prabhupada to come here. It's the force of the love now that drives devotees to want to give others this knowledge. And, as much as possible, distribute these books that reveal the glorious pastimes of Krishna in the Shrimadbhagavatam. And its effect now on our vision for the world. When we have Shrimadbhagavatam to look at as an example of what perfection can be, then it gives us a whole new world view of what we can do ourselves to make this a better place to live. Under normal circumstances, people put in the place, say for 200-300 years ago, when they were coming here as pioneers and settlers, the environmental necessity of providing every day the needs to continue their existence forced them to have to think about things of the field, planting foods, sowing the seeds and weeding the crops, all these things. And so now, with technology the way it is, practically speaking, 90+% of the population have professions other than agriculture. And when we look 200-300 years ago, we're just the opposite. 93% of the population was involved in the production of food. So, if we're going to think of society as having advanced through technology, then we have to evaluate what that ability we have now is giving us the time to do. So now, if I don't have to go out and plant the crops myself and harvest the crops and all that, what am I going to do with my time that makes this advancement? What am I going to do that makes this better than what I would have been doing 100 or 200 years ago? And so we have to see, are we developing in our life experience to the ability to be able to perceive that which will help us understand the reality of eternity, the reality of who we are and the substance of eternity that we are actually made of. We're made of an eternal substance, but everything around us is telling us, no, we're not. Everything around us is telling us we're temporary. And that in itself suggests that, oh, well, if everything is temporary, then I got to get as much as I can now. Got to have it all now. Is this the only time where they say there's only one life? Isn't that what they say? You know, life, live it now to the fullest. Enjoy. Yes, enjoy life to the fullest. And so this has been the problem of all societies of the past, that it's been the cause that has brought Krishna back to the planet to remind us what the problem is, to remind us what the goal is. That we don't know what the problem is. If we think this is our eternal dwelling, there will be no endeavor towards getting out. And that's for the most part what's happening now. Nobody realizes that this is not our home. They're not realizing that. They're thinking it is our home. And they're thinking every endeavor we make towards making this our home is what they become heroes for. Which is all obvious evidence to a self-realized soul that they are not self-realized. If we're making this planet out to be the eternal dwelling, it's not the eternal dwelling. And if we don't, we can't expect people to know, though, that it's not, unless we give them the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. What we take for granted that we have learned, a lot of times we think other people already know. After studying these books even, we think of some of this as common knowledge. Especially since the fact is that we're being reminded of it. But even with that, unless they connect with someone, they can't figure it out. It's not made to be figured out. It's made by personal connection and relationship. That's the whole basis of religion itself, relationship with God. That's really what religion is. And God, Krishna, is so full of love for all of his energies that he comes personally to bring us back to him after we've chosen to turn away. So this is a continuation of the previous verse, is saying, Others say that the world being overburdened like a boat at sea is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly you are unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings. And others say that he's born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hill. My dear Krishna, Yasoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes, and you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. So even Krishna just taking on the normal, what would be normal activities of a child, creates within the longing hearts of his associates that loving experience and exchange of activities with Krishna that he is making available to all of us through having come here. So each of these verses are pointing out various reasons that people say Krishna comes back to the material universe. And Krishna himself reveals why he does. And we can look at it personally, that he comes for me, came here for me. If the way is being made for each and every one of us individually to get out, then each and individually, every one of us, Krishna wants to restore that friendship, that relationship. You know, you can imagine being in a place, physical body, super soul is in, with all these people that are doing all these engagements that he doesn't want done. And he's sharing the body with them. And he knows every thought they're having and every pain they're causing themselves. And his devotees are the only ones that can lead these people out of their suffering. Yeah. And to bring them to the understanding that they're suffering. Because they think this is pleasure. They are thinking the breaking of these four regulative principles is the pleasure. That's what exactly they are thinking. That's fun. You want to take my fun away? So this is a misunderstanding of what pleasure is, what happiness is, what satisfaction is, and from there what power is. What health, what well-being is, what strength is, what assurance there is that comes from knowing that God is all-powerful within these bodies, sharing these bodies with us. So He's not going to let anything happen to us that will be outside the realm of His will once we're surrendered. They talk about this, even the scripture talks about untimely death. And it is believed that people can die before their time. You see, we were talking previously about Ashwatam killing these children. But nothing goes outside the laws that are established by Krishna from the very foundation of the world that we call karma. And so from that perspective, we can say there's no such thing. Out of time means we have to take responsibility for the fact that we didn't make it because we didn't have the right consciousness. And it's consciousness that will, Krishna consciousness, that will bring us to the final destination that we're supposed to be aiming for. By Krishna's mercy. Then by adhering to Krishna's instructions, we make his coming here worthwhile. Krishna will be happy to see how many people were affected by his words and by his teachings to the extent that it automatically brought them back to Godhead. See how happy that would make Krishna. So all we have to do is take the easy path, the one without as much pain and suffering, the one that pain and suffering brings closeness to Krishna, that path. And just stay on that path. And Krishna gives us protection every day, gives us realization of presence every day. Gives us realization of the supreme power he holds to control everything in our lives. He's controlling everything. Every relationship we've ever had has been by his doing and by the laws he's created. Mother, father, sister, son, daughter, all these relationships, all of it meant to develop love in those relationships, to develop us, to mature us, so that we become perfected. So, the only way perfection can be aimed at, if it is known what that perfection is. But as long as they're thinking perfection is the accumulation of things in this world, they will never develop the qualities described as those qualities necessary to be able to enter into the spiritual world. Humility, meekness, kindness, gentleness, love, all aspects of the supreme power of love. This is like a testing ground, you might say, planet. In our manifestation here as human beings, it's an opportunity to prove that what we believe. Prove what we believe. And in so doing with Krishna consciousness, we get the end result of Krishna consciousness. So if we believe that this world is heaven, this world is the place to be, then we will get that also. So what we need to know is what will give us that everlasting end result. What is that activity that can produce eternal result? Not something that runs out. See, in fact as well, when people are only experiencing what their own abilities can produce for them, then they miss out on that can be experienced when hundreds or thousands or even millions of people are engaging together in celebrating as we do. Because the unification, the experience of camaraderie, the experience of family, the experience of healthy consciousness, the experience of having friends, the experience of being able to trust people, have people you can trust. These are all things that should be normal. But believe it or not, there are people in life that don't have these luxuries. If you're born in a family of crime, you gotta watch behind your back. Every 2 minutes, somebody might be looking to wipe you out. These competitive family. So we are very fortunate to have been born under a set of circumstances that enables us now to be fully enriched by the knowledge given by this transcendental treatise that Krishna has made with mankind, to be able to allow mankind, anyone, womankind, humankind, any living being who has the ability to perceive the truths of these teachings, then thereby is being empowered by the one whose teachings these are, to be able to return to the one whose teachings these are. We're going to get personal association with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if we have full consciousness to be able to perceive in reality what this process is offering, we're getting that every day. We're getting association with Krishna every day, personally. And Krishna has made that available to us for the sake of bringing us back to Him. All we have to do is put into practice those simple processes He has revealed to us. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Shakti, Atmanivedam. And then at the end of this life, that's what we will know. That's all there will be. And it will be for eternity. Yeah, we can go on perfecting that. So whatever we may think of as perfection now, as we continue along this path, 10 years down the road, we will think how prehistoric-minded we were, how far behind we were in our estimation of what perfection it actually is. Might cut class a little early today. Small attendance. I don't know how big the attendance will be online. Got any questions, any comments? Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.